You're a very broad human because I think somebody can be introduced to you by one thing. Like I knew you for comedy and stand-up comedy and your videos. And then all of a sudden I watch Gook and, you know, I've been in acting class for years and years and years. And then I watch your performance and I'm not just trying to blow smoke up your ass. It was amazing.
Oh, thank
The
you.
movie was great. And then also I was like, he sings and you sing really well. So then you're a singer. And then I was telling Meg on the way here, I was like, David's kind of like who I would be in another life because I love matcha. So I would own Sip. I would own my own ice cream shop. And then I would be in this amazing indie movie and a singer. I'm like, we are the same person, but you do all these different things. I mean, how do you balance that? And even with Gook, like, that was such a specific movie. Yeah. What if you got something that required such a different skill set of you?
I mean, I just don't think I care about failing. That's why. Like, I just don't give a fuck. This is one of those really...
About filming?
About anything. If I fucking fail, I fail. Who the fuck cares, right? Because that's just something I had to learn. And I talked about this on the last podcast, and it started when I was really young. I used to be very scared of everything. My dad hated that about me. He fucking hated that about me. He hated the fact that I couldn't go up and order my own food at a fucking McDonald's because I was so scared of interacting with people. And my dad hated that. He used to fucking beat my ass because I just was such a timid little kid. I just would not interact with human beings. Like, I liked talking. I was a class clown, but that was just a way for me to try to divert my nervousness, right? And after a while, I think I honestly say it's probably started really around like my junior year of high school. And then from then on, it just got better and better and better. And then, so my junior year of high school, when I was younger, I was so scared of like people's perception of me, right? I didn't join choir till I was a senior, and I wanted to join choir when I was a freshman.
That is so surprising to hear.
Yeah. So I just didn't want to do it because I was scared of what people thought about me. I didn't want my friends to call me a bitch. They did, you know, but senior year, who the fuck cares? I'm leaving anyways, right? I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to college. Fuck all you guys. And in that moment, my senior year of high school was the happiest that I ever was in my 4 years of high school because I didn't care. I just didn't care anymore. I figured out how to study. I figured out how to read a fucking book. You know what I mean? And when I started clicking these things together, I just started trying to implement that every fucking day. And so now it's just evolved into something where I try it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't fucking work. This podcast, everybody told me not to do it. They were like, don't do a podcast. You're going to kill your channel. I killed my channel. But this podcast does better than my channel now. It was a big fucking risk. The first few months, there wasn't a single cent coming to this channel. And I had to go without like 3 or 4 months with no income, you know, but I'd rather figure out what happens if I fail than if I don't do it. And if it fails, then I'll pick up my pieces and I'll figure something else out. Because in my mind, nothing's going to fucking stop me. I'll figure something else out. I don't have this thing of I'm scared to do something because of what other people think or what I feel about it. So I like, for example, I had a relative that graduated college. He graduated and this is something that I hate. He didn't want to take a part-time job because he thought he was above it. That mentality pisses me off a lot because for me, I'll take anything. If I don't have something, I will do whatever I can to have that. So if there's like a certain level of life that I wanted to achieve, right? Let's say I needed to make like 7 or 8 grand to live a certain life, right? I would work 7 jobs just to get that because that's the situation I put myself in. Like for somebody like that, he says, I'm above driving for Uber. I'm above doing this stuff because I am this type of human being. You don't really get anywhere. So for me, I just don't care about failing and I'll do anything I can to get to what I want. But once I get it, I shift a lot. So that's it's not something I suggest people do, but it's just what makes me happy. Right? So once I did Gook, it's very hard for me to try to work on another film now. I'm trying my best, but I'm not inspired to. I start writing and then I stop. I start writing and then I stop.
Yeah.
When it wasn't like that for that film. You know?
But I feel like for you, you're such a entrepreneur and your own person that I feel like sometimes when you are the type of person that I would imagine would be in a movie that you were a large part of the creative process.
Oh, for sure.
Because I was talking to Khalif about auditioning and he was telling me about when you were going in for auditions and stuff. And thinking about you going into an audition room, I don't know you very well, to be honest, personally.
Yeah.
Even though I hear about you a lot. and I see your videos and stuff, but just thinking about you going into an audition process, because I'm the opposite of you in that sense. And I mean, I actually want to talk to you more about how you can overcome that fear, because I care so much what people think about me. And I get so nervous of performing. Even my singing teacher the other day was telling me about this beta blocker that some of her students are on that kind of help calm your nerves. And I went and talked to my doctor about this because I get so much anxiety. And she said, just because of my body and different things, I can't take it. But that's to the point. But when I go into an audition, I'm like, oh my God, please like me. And then I sit in the waiting room and I see somebody that is like way better than me in all these different ways in my brain. I'm like, this person's prettier, they're skinnier, they're taller, they're more Korean looking, they're less Korean looking, they're whatever. And I just go crazy in my head. But I was like thinking about you in an audition room, and I'm like, David wouldn't care. And he wouldn't.
Oh, I absolutely do not care.
Like if somebody was like, do it this way, and you didn't like that, if the casting director says, do it a little bit like this, and I don't really feel like it fits the character, the story, I'll just say, okay, well, I want to make sure okay, let's do it. But I could just see you being like, no, this is the way I see this person. And I want to be more like how, if you said that switch in senior year, like what, was it a moment? Was it an event that happened, or was it kind of the span of you always kind of just, I'm going to take another risk and I'm going to.
I think it's this point where you kind of look at yourself and you start hating yourself a little bit. Like
I'm there, David. Yeah. I look in the mirror every day and say, fuck you.
It's, life is very short, and where I grew up too, I grew around a lot of fucking thugs and a bunch of losers, and I'm already past what I think that I was already capable of when I was younger, which is crazy, right? So I had a conversation with my fiance. She goes, so what are your goals? I was like, personal goals. I was like, to be honest with you, I don't know. Like I guess I have an overarching goal, which is just to be happy, and I do whatever I can to fill that. So I don't have this thing where I can't, it's hard for me to stop myself from doing something because of something that I lack, which is completely within my control. To not care is completely within your control, right? So I get nervous in auditions, right? I go in there, but once it's done, it's out of my control. It's a problem for me when people try to control things that you cannot control. No matter what you fucking do, you cannot control it. So what's the whole point in wasting your time thinking about it? Nothing is going to happen. It's the same advice that I give to these guys who are afraid to approach women. They go, well, what happens? Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to fucking die, dude. She's going to say no. You might cry a little bit, but you'll fucking live. Go for another one. And that's just how I approach things now too. Even with these fucking auditions, like I go in, I try it out. And if I get a call back, I do. If I don't, fuck it. Who cares? I can only do the best that I can do. At the end of the day, even on the other side of like casting, they're just looking for the best person that fits this role, right? Or sometimes people just suck a lot of dick and something happens, right? And even with acting too, like I always say this, it's really something that's completely out of your control. It's something that's out of the casting director's control. It's really about who has the fucking money, right? So even this, when I started, after I did Google, I got to speak to a lot of execs. And what I really found out just from talking to people constantly and getting drinks with them is that casting directors just open the door like this. And that's as far as they can get it. Other than that, it's in everybody else's hands. The director depends on how much power the director has, who the director is. If it's not them, then it'll be up to the network. Does the network like you enough, right? Do they want to put their money behind you? Sometimes, and I say in my personal opinion, from what I've seen and what I've heard, 70% of the time, they've already casted who they want. You are the backup to the backup. So you already have the chip stacked against you. And in your case, specifically because you're an actor, that's also the life that you chose. So if you're choosing this fucking life, you have to expect that out of everything that's going to happen. I always tell people with acting, it's like going into a fucking job interview fucking 12 times a week for the rest of your fucking life and having every person tell you that you're not good enough.
Yeah. That sounds pretty accurate.
You know what I mean? And sometimes these casting directors don't even tell you what you did wrong, and you just have to mull over it at home. Just, God, what did I do wrong? You don't fucking know. Some of these casters, they won't even fucking tell you.
That's how I feel when I get rejected from clubs. Like, are you on the list?
Yep.
No. Okay, go.
Meg went
to
Meg went to
Did
Berlin.
I not dress right? Do I need to wear more kink? What did I do?
Yeah, Meg couldn't get into any clubs in Berlin when she went on a solo trip.
I didn't get into one club. It's called Berghain. It's
Okay.
notoriously famous for not getting in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how my experience
You
went.
just had to wear like saran wrap as a dress, and you
You
would be
really
fine.
do. I literally saw so many nipples in that line, like male and female nipples with clothes like around them, but the nipples were
just completely exposed.
Yes.
They just took their dress and wrapped it around their tits.
Yeah,
and they
there's a
just-
lot of that.
Well, you had plenty of time while waiting in line to fix your shirt.
I was like,
some way.
does anybody have some scissors? Anyone? Scissors
Just
anywhere.
cut the nipple area off real quick, and then just have
Just
them
a little
fucking
bit,
poke
like,
out,
It'll
dude.
be fine.
Dude, getting into clubs though, it's pretty easy for a girl though.
That's what I thought. I'm a female. Done.
Yeah.
No.
So just like casting, Meg was
It's
walking
not.
away from the club just wondering,
What did I
was
do?
I too tall? What was it?
I wonder if you just slowly started bringing your dress down, that rope would have just opened up slowly. It's just the amount of nipple you show, it just opens up
Just
wider
saying,
and
my
wider.
skirt was like going higher, and then I was like, "This is ridiculous." Like, I'm just gonna go get a kebab and sleep.
I haven't been to a fucking club in like 3 or 4 years.
I have been to maybe 3 clubs in my entire life.
Oh, really?
But I was in Berlin.
Yeah.
And Berlin is the place where the